Our newest client, Quincy University, was paying way too much for electricity costs across their campus facilities. Less than 90 days later, they've unlocked access to over $40,000 a year in future energy savings. They didn't touch any school infrastructure. They didn't change their utility. They didn't spend a dime. Our team's unlocked access to over $50 million in future energy savings using the Community Solar Program. Quincy University is our latest example. My name is Dakota Knuckles-Malone. I co-founded Community Solar Authority, and in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the exact problem that they were facing, the process that we ran to solve it, and what $40,000 a year actually means for a university trying to make every dollar count without sacrificing their sustainability mission. So here's something that not enough people, including administrators, are talking about when it comes to electricity inflation. Electricity is one of the fastest growing line items on any overhead budget, period. In the past, you were able to assume a 2 to 5% inflation on electricity every single year. But now in our modern energy landscape, with the changes in demand, with the changes in cost, that no longer applies. And unlike tuition or payroll or other sorts of fixed costs, it is something that just keeps climbing without anyone being able to do anything about it until programs like Community Solar come around. Think about it. Quincy University is a real campus with real overhead. Classrooms, dorms, admin buildings, athletic facilities, all running 24/7, all paying retail electricity rates that seem to go up every single year. And here's the bind that they're in. And we hear this from schools constantly, universities, public schools, etc. They want to do something about energy costs. They care about sustainability, but they're not in a position to spend millions of dollars on a solar installation that they may never fully own or realize an ROI on, or most importantly, they do not have the time or staff to navigate any sort of complexity of the energy market. So they're locked out of the solutions that big corporations typically use, and yet this is too big of a problem to ignore. That's what I call the institutional energy trap. You're large enough to have a real problem, but not resourced enough to use the tools historically available to solve it. And here's the worst part. Electricity inflation is compounding. Every year that someone delays, the savings they could capture are gone. It's not a neutral decision to do nothing anymore. It's a very expensive one. So let me walk you through exactly what happened and how we ended up helping them. But first, I need to give a shout out to the energy consulting team for Quincy University. Ron and his team over at QFB Energy Solutions are an amazing group of individuals who are absolute experts in the energy space. They have been the team to support Quincy U in implementing institutionalized energy strategies to help them lower their gas, lower their electricity costs, and overall support their school's energy budget. QFB brought us into the deal when it came to working with Quincy University because they saw us as subject matter experts in the community solar space. So very quickly, they were able to mesh and integrate our team into theirs and create a headache-free process for Quincy University. So here's what community solar actually is. And I talk about this a lot on this channel because this is exactly what we do for our clients. No installations, no utility switches, no capital required. In exchange for participating in a local solar project, you receive bill production credits that are designed to lower utility costs. Once Quincy came through our intake process, here's exactly what we did. So first, we did an analysis. We pulled their energy data, and we identified exactly which accounts qualified for community solar capacity, in this case, Ameren service territory. This took us days, not months. And one of the big highlights here, and the reason we do such a deep dive, is because we hear in the market, people are saying, hey, community solar takes 10% off your total energy bill. This cannot be further from the truth, especially for large energy users. As an example, in the state of Illinois, if you have a certain account, which is using a ton of energy, your rate class will continue to climb up. State of Illinois says that if you have a rate class, as an example, that's R400 or above, which is a high demand meter, then that supply, so very quickly, a utility bill has three parts: supply, delivery, and taxes. If you have an R400 meter using a ton of demand, then your supply portion of your bill needs to be billed separately if you're using an energy supplier. Okay, so as an example, if someone has an R400 utility account and they have $1 million of supply costs, but the reality is that $1 million, we cannot subscribe to community solar because it cannot be consolidated onto the Ameren bill. So follow along here. Three parts to the bill. If the supply is too big, it goes on a separate bill, which means we can't enroll the supply costs for community solar. And this is a big deal because this is all about expectation settings. We've had clients come to us and say, we tried to get access to community solar. These people promised us the world. They told us we were going to save 10% off our entire bill, and the entire thing is screwed up. And without being able to generate any revenue, we still go and try our best to help those clients see what they signed up for, properly educate them. And this is just one nuance of community solar, but it's why the analysis is so important. And it's the most important part, arguably, because not only does it determine how much you qualify for as far as savings, but it really separates who the experts are from the people who just want to sign you up and then never talk to you again after they do, which is a horrible scenario to be in. So we always make sure that we do our due diligence on the front end. One of our largest clients to date was Casey's, Fortune 500 company, Casey's General Store. We had to review over 400 accounts, 12 months of billing, 5,000 utility bills to make sure our job was done correctly. And the reason why we did that was, the short answer is, it's required. That is what is necessary. And again, we make sure that we fast track this process through our systems. So this is taking days, not months, and that your organization can get a quick answer on exactly how much you qualify for when it comes to community solar. So, rant over. Next, we have to source you community solar projects. Based on what you actually qualify for, will determine how many solar farms we actually need to support your business. Some places will be able to provide one solar farm. Others will have pipelines of solar farms where if you need 7, 8, 9 solar farms, then we're able to source those projects for you. So really quick to get into the background to how our company works, not only do we co-develop and build these solar projects, but developers hire our firm to fill their solar farms with large energy users or anchor tenants. It's how we've spent the last 8 years building our business. It's how we've unlocked access to over $50 million in future energy savings. So after we were done working with Quincy U on their energy audit, we were able to go through and instantly source something that turned on very quickly for them so that they can realize these $40,000 a year in savings starting in 2026. All right, so once we do the energy audit, once we source them a community solar project, then it is time to actually review the subscription agreement from that developer. So Quincy's team reviewed the community solar agreement, they understood the savings, and they signed. Clean, simple, done. There was actually no red lines from this project. And from the time they filled out our intake form to the time that they were subscribed and set up to save, it took us under 90 days. No project management headaches, no construction timelines, no utility negotiations, just a signed agreement to access lower energy costs, $40,000 a year lower to be exact. Now, I want to show you something that most people miss when they look at a number like $40,000, because when you put it in the context of what a university is actually trying to accomplish, it gets way more interesting. So stay with me here. $40,000 a year sounds like a good round number, but let me put it in terms that actually matter to a university as an example. Over a 5-year subscription, Quincy University will access $200,000 a year in savings. That's not a projection. That's not a forecast. That is an outcome based on the contract that they signed. $200,000 is a scholarship fund. It's upgraded lab equipment. It's 2 new hires that will enhance the university. It's a renovation on a building that they've been putting off for years. It's real money doing real things on campus. But here's what I think is even more valuable than the dollar number. It's what community solar did for their sustainability story. Universities are under enormous pressure right now from students, from donors, from accreditation bodies to demonstrate that they're serious about ESG and or environmental stewardship. Quincy now has concrete, documented, verifiable proof that they supported cleaning the local energy grid, they invested time into a renewable energy project, and they unlocked access to $200,000 in savings in the process. That is the kind of win that goes in the president's letter to the board. That goes in the alumni magazine. That goes on the website. That goes into PR. And here's the ripple effect that we see every time. Once a school or a university does this, their administrators start talking about it. Their CFO mentions it to another CFO at another school. Their sustainability director presents it at a conference. The deal becomes a case study, which becomes a referral. So it's not that Quincy University just saved $40,000 a year. They became a proof point for what's possible when people look at sustainability strategies. By the way, guys, I am actually going to be speaking at the Illinois Green Energy Alliance and Network Community Colleges event this April to educate these schools on community solar. It's going to be held at Lewis and Clark on April 15th, I believe. And so I hope to see you there, where I will be highlighting different case studies from schools we've worked with and how other community colleges can take advantage of community solar too. All right, so let me bring this all back in together. Quincy University had a real energy cost problem, just like every other large energy user across the country. Like most institutions, they didn't have a path to solve it. Community Solar Authority gave them a path forward using community solar legislation. We matched them to available capacity in their utility territory, ran the process from intake to subscription, and got them to unlock $40,000 a year in savings in under 90 days. No panels, no utility change, no check written, just a lower bill, a better sustainability story, and $200,000 in savings over the lifetime of the subscription. If you're in higher education, manufacturing, healthcare, or any organization spending serious money on electricity costs in the state of Illinois, this is what's available to you right now. Drop a comment below or go to communitysolarauthority.com. We will show you additional case studies and how we can support you. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more information on community solar. And next week, I will be breaking down how a portfolio of Dunkin' Donuts, we worked with a franchise owner, and how they saved $35,000 a year with community solar across their portfolio of locations in upstate New York. Totally different industry, same exact result. Don't miss it, and we will see you on the other side.